he had disappointed her. She looked up at him and back down at the present. He held out his hand in an unmistakable gesture of, "Go ahead, open it." His present to her had been wrapped in gold paper with green ribbon. He had taken great care to curl the ribbon. The present vibrated as it lay on the table. With one wrinkled, age-spotted hand, she pulled the ribbon loose. Then she pried off the tape and unwrapped the paper, revealing a brown box with a dozen small holes puncturing the sides. She refolded the paper and, still hesitant, looked up at her husband. "Go ahead," he gestured, all smiles. "Open it." I think he was impatient to open his own present. When she opened the lid, she started, moved back abruptly. "I found this in the marshes, in the sour weeds, near the old boathouse," he said, "not far from the docks. It tried to disguise itself in the mud, but I found it." By this time I had put my ear up to the dusty, cold window. If they turned toward the window, they would see the imprint of my ghastly pale ear, but at the moment the box held their attention. Out of the box crawled a blackish-green creature with huge yellow eyes, 4 legs or hands, and a lurching gait due to the curled claws at the ends of its webbed toes. It revealed its wet, red tongue and made a gurgling sound as it took a few hesitant steps across the table. The husband looked at the creature with utter surprise, as if he had never seen it before, despite having placed it in a box and then wrapped it for his wife. "Do you like it?" he asked, as if asking the question of himself. "Oh, yes," she said. "Now open yours. I found yours in a ditch under a drain in the oldest part of the city, where if you wait long enough you will hear a rustling that isn't the leaves in the breeze." Her husband's present to her flopped wetly across the table, narrowly missing the wine bottle and her husband's lap. Her present to her husband was hastily wrapped in purple paper with ragged silver ribbon. Her husband tore it open, to reveal a box very similar to the one he had presented to his wife. It, too, had breathing holes. His eyebrows shot up. Nonetheless, his hand crept over to the box, and he opened the lid. A delicate miracle of silver metal and red muscle emerged from the box. The beating crimson of its central fleshiness was offset by spindly metal legs, dainty as a dragonfly, the sad cyclopean headlight of its face, and the slender hypodermic needles that were its arms. Lighter than any of the needlessly heavy things in the apartment, it glided across the table as the wife looked expectantly at her husband. Slowly he nodded, the expression on his face one of relief. "I've always wanted one," he joked. "I love it." I pulled back from the window pane then, to see better. The two creatures circled each other while the husband and wife, presence forgotten, stared at each other, once again using an inscrutable smile to shut out the night, the city, and me from their most private thoughts. The green flopping creature let out a soundless howl as it glared at the metal flesh creature. With a moist scuttle, it closed the distance between itself and its adversary. With a single cruel blow of its webbed hand, it pulled off the metal creature's right leg. The metal creature gave out a cry of anguish and fell to the table, while the couple watched, immobilized by surprise. The green creature leapt upon its wounded counterpart, tearing away the other leg. It fastened its fang-engorged mouth on the central thick red meat. The metal creature spasmed, waved one needle arm weakly, made a sound like a snapping branch. The green creature's eyes were greedy with its victory. Alas, just as it crushed its enemy's heart in its mouth, the metal creature managed to pierce the webbed flesh of its enemy's left foot, discharging the purple contents of its needle. The metal creature shuddered and lay still. The green creature spasmed, shook violently, and fell over on its side, jaws still closed around its opponent. Inside the window, husband and wife sat on either end of the table, wine glasses beside them. Between them, an empty wine bottle, a guttering candle, and the carcasses of their gifts to each other. The carcasses bore an uncanny resemblance to their earlier meal. She looked at him with unrelenting sadness. "I didn't mean it," she said, pleading. "I love you. I didn't mean it." For a moment he was silent. Then he sighed, leaned forward, and placed his hands over hers. "I know," he said. "I didn't mean it either." But such sentiments were too late, of course, for the green and metal creatures, and in saying what they had said, they had cracked open the sealed container of their secret smile in such a way that it would never mean exactly the same thing again. Yet the woman accepted the man's hands with such infinitely graceful body language, placing one of her hands over his, tenting her knuckles that she might also be a comfort to him. I almost regretted that behind me I could hear the festival of the freshwater squid, destroying the night with its customary eruption of flames and chaotic uncommon scents. Nonetheless, it was time to abandon the window for the pleasures of the festival. 1. My plank of wood shattered the window. 2. I stared in at them revealed and smiled their secret smile back at them, although it did not comfort them much. I was as alone as the wind with its branches for claws and its pitiless stars for eyes. 3.